Ni hao, it's Xingfu here, and today I'm going to review one of the most popular Chinese drama of 2026. The drama is called Royal Betrothal and it stars JinYan and Chen ZheYuan. I honestly didn't know about this drama until it premiered, so I couldn't ignore it because it had two of my favorites as the leads. Chen ZheYuan had two impressive projects in 2025. I think it was Fated Hearts and The White Olive Tree. Wu Jinyan also had a masterpiece in 2024 with The Double. I think we can all agree on that part. So when I saw them as the leads for Royal Betrothal, I instantly jumped on the drama and I started watching it. Before I can talk about the drama, the story, and the characters and everything else, I just want to talk about the OSTs. The OSTs from this drama are very boring. If we exclude the OST by Liu Yining, there's no other OST that I can say I remember. I don't remember any OST from this drama because I was watching this drama from episode 1 till the last episode. So in my own opinion, Liu Yining saved the entire OST playlist. He was the only one who made a song that can be memorable, that can be remembered after watching the drama. That OST song, let me check the name. So the OST is called Beholding Mountains and Rivers. This is one of my favorite OST for 2026. So I really appreciate that Liu Yining came with a different flow and a different melody for this OST. It wasn't the usual OST that we get that uses the same melody, the same flow, the same rhythm. The song is actually addictive because I've been playing it for almost a day now. There's a part where he sings. Let me try to sing. Okay, let's see. 山河江山，借着金汤，放眼为山天下长安。That was a very creative way of delivering lines and rhymes. So, enough with the OSTs and everything else. Let's go back to the review and talk about the story and everything that happened in the drama. Royal Betrothal takes place during the Great Daning Dynasty, which is threatened by corruption, political struggles, and criminal forces or gangs. Meng Tinghui, who is an orphan that was once rescued by the young emperor, becomes the first woman to achieve the imperial examination's triple first honor and joins the court of oversight. On the other hand, the young emperor Yingguo secretly fights injustice as a masked vigilante while managing the power struggles within the court. When their paths unite, they join forces to expose corruption and bring justice both inside the imperial court and among the people. That's the summary of Royal Betrothal. Let's pause for a moment. If you are just like me and you are always telling yourself, just one more episode, then I'll go to sleep, you will actually love this one. This is my one more episode drama journal, which is made to keep track of all your dramas, favorite dramas, OSTs, and watch lists. It's available on Amazon. You can get it by clicking on the link in the description or on the pinned comment. Anyways, back to the video. The first 5 episodes were actually interesting and funny to watch. Firstly, they opened episode 1 with some backstory of Meng Tinghui and her sister when they were young. Apparently, they were abducted by a gang that trained them to steal from other people. Even though they didn't give much details on that opening scene, it was enough to grab my attention. I was really curious about what really happened. Because after that opening scene, you see an adult Meng Tinghui who is now a student and they are getting ready for exams. But she still doesn't have peace because someone is using her power to bully her. So that was the introduction of Meng Tinghui. They even showed her selling exam question predictions, which shows that she was no longer stealing from other people, she was making an honest living. She was making money by selling exam question predictions. It also showed her intelligence because if she always manages to predict exam questions, she's definitely super intelligent. Then there's a scene where the emperor, I'm just going to call the emperor by the name Hedu because I'm used to it compared to Yingguo. Hedu was with his men on the way to investigate a case in Shazhou where Meng Tinghui lives. which obviously is going to lead to their meetup. On that day, it happened to be a funeral in Shaju, and the Hu Shao gang leader was forcing people to wear funeral clothes. They didn't even want to see anyone celebrating or rejoicing. The whole part was just to show how ruthless these gangs are, and also how they controlled the area because they had less government intervention. But there was a scene that was kind of funny. When the gang leader and his crew were walking on the road, they noticed Meng Tinghui and her friend dancing to promote her friend's business. Then the gang leader paused and he turned his head towards them. That was a funny moment. And his facial expressions was like, oh, these ones are not going to respect the gang, huh? Deal with them. And that's when the male lead, Hedu, met Meng Tinghui. He was actually helping them to fight the gang. And while they were busy fighting, Meng Tinghui used Hedu as a shield. And Hedu was like, Ni fengse. So that was also another funny moment from the first episodes there. It also showed how quick-witted Meng Tinghui is. The first episodes were mainly about the interaction between Hedu and Meng Tinghui. The story was also developing. They were dealing with the weapon case and the corrupt magistrate of Shaju. And speaking of the corrupt magistrate of Shaju, Meng Tinghui suffered a lot because of the needs of that corrupt magistrate of Shaju. But there was a time when Meng Tinghui was arrested because of the needs of that corrupt magistrate of Shaju. And Meng Tinghui's friend thought that she was going to be tortured in prison. But then they show Meng Tinghui gambling with the prison guards and eating with them. They were having fun and all those stuffs. That scene reminded me of the scene of Zhao Lucy in Oh My Emperor when she was arrested and she was walking in and out of prison like she was a regular visitor. She was having fun with the prison guards. They were gambling. They were having fun. Then the story moved from Shaju to the capital. Hedu and Meng Tinghui solved the case in Shaju. So Hedu returned to his role as the emperor and Meng Tinghui passed her exam in Shaju. She went to the capital to write another exam. That's where they introduced more characters such as the Right Councillor, Shen Jili, Anian, Yinqing, and Situ Shui. They also started giving more details about the two gangs that were messing up the capital city. One gang is all about restoring their fallen nation. Another gang was all about gambling and all other bad stuff. I don't think it's safe to say some of them on YouTube, so I'm just going to skip this one. The second half of the drama was nothing but a battle. What happened in the first half is nothing compared to what happened in the second half. There were endless schemes, plotting, framing, corruption, and bribery. Meng Tinghui got her exam paper swapped, only to find that it was the niece of that corrupt magistrate in Shaju. But she eventually solved the case by using the support of the people. She even went to challenge the left councillor who wanted to cancel the idea of women becoming officials. So far, everything was going good, but then the story somehow became all about Meng Tinghui fighting the Hu Shao gang, which troubled her all the way from Shaju. They actually had a blood feud and she was always hunting them and they were also plotting against her. They were trying to find ways to get rid of her. She was also fighting those who were in court. Every person in court was against Meng Tinghui. So she was fighting against them because everything that happened in court, they were busy blaming her. Everything. Even if it rains, they were blaming Meng Tinghui. Oh, this is all because of Meng Tinghui. Meng Tinghui is the devil. Oh, it's hot. This is all because of Meng Tinghui. Oh, it's snowing. This is all because of Meng Tinghui. Meng Tinghui must be arrested. Oh, I didn't eat at home. This is because of Meng Tinghui. Let's get rid of Meng Tinghui before she makes everything worse. Let's remove her from her position. Everything was all about Meng Tinghui. And I even started to wonder, is there anything else that they can discuss in court that didn't involve Meng Tinghui? Is there anything that happened in the Great Daning that didn't involve Meng Tinghui? I understand that Meng Tinghui is a character that is supposed to fight against the system and all those people who are against her. But it cannot be all about Meng Tinghui, even when it doesn't make sense. It should make sense for them to target Meng Tinghui, but they shouldn't blame her for everything that was happening. And this was a cycle. It was a repetition. They blame Meng Tinghui for something, and then Meng Tinghui will fall for that trap, and she will get arrested, or she will get punished, or something else will happen. She will get injured. At the end of the day, Meng Tinghui was always injured in almost every episode. She was always framed for something that didn't even make sense. Everything was all about Meng Tinghui, as if Meng Tinghui was a nation herself. If you go to the palace court, they were talking about Meng Tinghui. If it didn't involve Meng Tinghui, they wouldn't talk about it. Everything involved Meng Tinghui. So it was a back and forth battle between Meng Tinghui and everyone in the drama. Everyone was targeting Meng Tinghui. And I suddenly lost interest in the drama. I think it was between episode 23, 25, I'm not sure. But I started to lose interest in the drama. I didn't have that urge to watch the next episode because I see a repetition of the same pattern. Something happens. They blame Meng Tinghui. Meng Tinghui solved the case. But while she's busy solving that case, she gets injured, or she gets tortured, or she gets punished, or something happens to her. Every time Meng Tinghui was solving something, something will happen to her. In my mind, I was like, I've seen this before. I've seen this before. Give me something fresh. Give me something new. I don't want to see Meng Tinghui getting injured again. I was tired of it. I was tired of seeing Meng Tinghui getting injured. Always, Meng Tinghui is getting injured. She's lying on bed. The emperor will come and take care of her. And while she is busy recovering, she will wake up and start investigating the case again, only for her to get injured again. From episode 23, I think it's 23, 25, I'm not sure, but I think it's 23, between 23 and 25. The story was messed up. Nothing made sense. It was like they were just moving for the sake of moving. It was very disappointing to see the story starting on a good scale, but then it suddenly started dropping. I did lose interest in the drama until they started to touch on the story of Meng Tinghui's real identity. And that's when I started to say, okay, maybe I'll give this drama a second chance. Let me just watch and see what happens. Because those previous episodes from episode 23 didn't make much sense, and I was busy fast forwarding every scene because it didn't make much sense. And the whole plot about Meng Tinghui's real identity was interesting, but then it was still a bit messy. I did mention that I was annoyed by Meng Tinghui always getting injured and always being targeted by everyone. And while I was watching this drama, I felt like Wu Jinyan is playing the same character as the one in The Double and Kill Me, Love Me. Because she's always being targeted, she's always getting injured, she always gets beaten up. That's just how I feel. And I'm not going to say she doesn't do an amazing job when she's playing this kind of characters. She does an amazing job when she portrays this kind of characters. But for me, I feel like some scenes didn't really need her to get injured or even get a single scratch. Now let's talk about the left counselor because he's actually one of the most important characters in the drama. So the left counselor is a character that is built to look like a bad guy from the start. He's like one of those guys who wouldn't mind to be seen as the bad guy, as long as the rules are being followed and everything is in order. He's certified. He had that dragon staff that was given to him by the late emperor so that he can help the young emperor, who is Yingguo or Hetu, to manage the nation. But it felt like the left chancellor was abusing his power and he was plotting something against the emperor. During the first half of the drama, I actually thought he was the bad guy because he was always going against whatever the emperor suggested. He was always looking for an opportunity to get rid of Meng Tinghui. He was even against the idea of women taking part in the exams and becoming officials. The emperor also believed that he was against the system because it will weaken his power. And that's how it looked like in the first half of the drama. But on the second half of the drama, they started exposing other characters, and that's when I started to really understand him. As someone who was given a huge task of helping the emperor to manage the nation, he had to be strict. He had to make sure that the rules are followed. He had to ensure health and safety to the emperor. He had to make sure that the emperor doesn't lose his way. And this is all because of his love and loyalty to the nation. He had to make sure that he completes the mission that the late emperor gave him. They also showed his soft side when they showed his home. At home, he's not that strict. And I think that's because he doesn't have much to worry about when he's at home. But in court, they are dealing with a lot of issues. The emperor is not strict enough. So someone had to be the bad guy and be super strict. And the left chancellor was that guy. And I want to talk about Yinqing for a moment. So Yinqing fooled everyone, including me. And when I start to think about him, I remember that he was the first person to point out the real devil in the drama. No one believed him. They didn't take him seriously. Yinqing had more knowledge than Men Hui. He knew who was the real devil in the palace court. He knew how they were operating. And he was giving hints all those time. And no one actually caught those hints. So he used his other identity to provide the evidence. He really had everyone fooled. I didn't even suspect him until the very last moments. That's when I started to realize that this guy is really a genius. This guy can really hide behind a mask. And you wouldn't even suspect anything. He really knew how to fool people and how to act. As for chemistry, I know that some of the people will be asking about the chemistry in the drama. As for chemistry, the leads had no chemistry at all. I really cannot think of 2 or 3 romantic moments between the two. I really didn't see them as a couple. I just saw them as an emperor and a subject. That's just how I saw them. If you want to speak about chemistry, you can talk about Shen Jishu and Yan Fuji. They had much better chemistry compared to the leads. Even An Yan and Shen Jiling had more interesting love story compared to the leads. I think I've been talking a lot, so let's talk about the ending. First of all, Royal Betrothal has a happy ending, but I'm not happy about it. I don't get why a drama is called Royal Betrothal, but we don't get a royal wedding. Does it really make sense? And on top of that, the emperor cancelled the rule that stopped him from marrying Men Hui. He also took a severe punishment so that he can be able to marry Men Hui. But we didn't get a wedding. And also they had to kill some of the big characters during the last moments. The ending might be a happy ending, but it was a disappointing ending. Anyways, that's my review on Royal Betrothal. With that being said, I'm rating Royal Betrothal 6 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Until next time, 再见.